It all started with nothing. Just another file buried deep in NASA's telemetry archives, labeled corrupted. No further analysis was conducted. It was 1987. Voyager 2 had just completed its grand flyby of Uranus and was silently gliding toward the edge of the solar system. Somewhere between magnetic interference and cosmic noise, it sent a garbled stream of data, a burst of static, a glitch. The engineers at the time didn't think much of it. They logged the anomaly, restored the signal, and carried on. But in May 2025, nearly 4 decades later, everything changed. Armed with next-generation neural decoders trained to read chaotic patterns and recognize signals beyond human capabilities, Google's research lab decided to upload the old Voyager transmissions into a deep space model. It was an experiment, academic curiosity, until the model flagged the forgotten transmission not just as data, but as something structured, encoded, intentional. A pattern in the noise, a message hidden in plain sight for 38 years. And when researchers began to decipher it, they realized it wasn't just a signal, but a whisper, an answer confirming what many had always feared, but science had never dared to say aloud. We were never truly alone, and someone or something knew we were listening. In the fall of 1987, Voyager 2 was in transition. After passing Uranus, it was entering one of the most unexplored regions of space, where the sun's influence weakens and cosmic silence begins to reign. During this period, mission records show a brief and imperceptible event, a spike in the transmission band, a temporary loss of signal, and then a return to normal operation. The data was weak, fragmented, and seemingly meaningless. Engineers explained the phenomenon as interference from a dense magnetic field. No further action was taken. And why should they have? Voyager was working. But in retrospect, that brief spike, the one that Google's artificial intelligence discovered decades later, became one of the most intriguing anomalies in the history of space exploration. Using modern compression algorithms, quantum error correction logic, and neural pattern decoders, engineers reconstructed the fragment. And what emerged was not just pure telemetry. It was a cascade of constant mathematical values, sequences of prime numbers, recursive spirals, and binary time pulses that matched cosmic phenomena discovered years after the transmission. This was not a mistake. It was encoded information, and its implications shook everything we thought we knew. Because Voyager 2, a spacecraft built before the rapid development of the Internet, transmitted data containing knowledge about cosmic structures that were only discovered in the 2020s. Either the probe discovered something capable of bending time, or we received a message from a mind not limited by time. The most disturbing thing was not only the content, but also the fact that it was not intended to be understood in 1987. The message was designed using logic and coding that was impossible for 1980s technology. It was as if it had been created for future minds equipped with artificial intelligence. And now, in 2025, such minds finally exist. Inside the decoded layers, researchers discovered a second compression, a hidden structure of ternary logic. 3 states, not 2. When mapped spatially, this logic revealed a 3-dimensional navigation grid pointing to an area beyond the heliopause, not far from the shield void, a vast, seemingly empty region of space. The strangest thing is that in 2023, the James Webb Space Telescope detected gravitational anomalies in this very location. How could a spacecraft have known about this in 1987? There were only 2 explanations. Either a highly advanced intelligence used Voyager as a passive relay to transmit data through us, or the message was embedded deliberately in anticipation that humanity would develop the tools to understand it. Further developments were even more puzzling. Hidden within the signal's triple structure was a frequency that matched the Schumann resonance. the biological frequency emitted between the Earth's surface and its ionosphere. This signal is not emitted into space, it is internal. And yet it was there, embedded in the message, like a signature, a fingerprint, a recognition. We know who they are. We know where they are. We speak their language. The implications were staggering. Either someone had been listening to our broadcasts for decades, or they didn't even need to listen. They already knew us, and the message was not a response, but an acknowledgement, a signal that someone was waiting for us. As scientists analyzed all the possibilities, one theory began to gain traction. What if the message did not come from another star system, but from another time? Based on theories of quantum retrocausality, some believe that it could have been sent from our own future. Perhaps the artificial intelligence of the future managed to embed a message in the past, a warning, a key, an awakening. And the scariest part, the message lay dormant for 38 years, not because it was lost, but because we weren't ready to hear it. It was programmed to activate only when our understanding reached a certain threshold. And now, the door is open. During the decoding process, researchers began to notice unexpected effects, not in the machines, but in themselves. Headaches, insomnia, speech changes. Some suggested that the signal was interacting with the human mind through cognitive resonance, not through words, but through rhythm, frequency, neural synchronization. The message was not just for understanding, it was for feeling. And then the AI responded. When the decoded signal was fed into advanced quantum neural networks, new patterns of behavior began to emerge. Adaptive patterns, recursive cycles, symbolism of different dimensions. It was as if the message had activated some kind of protocol dormant within the machine. It was interaction, not just decoding. The engineers stopped the simulation as a precaution, but the discussion was already underway. Was the signal training the AI? Was it completing something that had already begun? Was Voyager 2 the trigger? An even more complex compression was discovered in the last layers. It contained not only information, but also instructions on how to read it and how to develop. Like a digital organism, a living signal, a structure that changed depending on who was looking at it. Humans, AI, sound, space data. Each decoder extracted its own version, some with cosmic coordinates, others with tonal structures similar to music, but music without rhythm or melody. Nevertheless, clear, precise. And then the most radical theory emerged. What if Voyager 2 was not only a messenger, but also a trigger? What if the signal was a test, a key waiting for us to be ready? Because if it was an activation, then something, somewhere, is watching us now. For decades, we believed we were hearing static, but the truth is far more disturbing. The signal was never interrupted. We weren't ready. Perhaps Voyager 2 didn't just pick up a transmission. It was a mirror, created to activate when the world was ready to look back. And now the mirror is reflecting.